I've done quite a bit of videos talking about how I feel Eren will potentially come to his conclusion and what the ending of the story entails. I thought I would clear a lot of the old stuff out, somewhat shave down the idea and take a lot of the new information and apply it to the ending. We have gotten a lot over the past couple of months. Feels like it was only yesterday we were talking about time traveling and alternate universes and Ragnarok and all of this crazy mythological stuff, which is definitely within Attack on Titan's story, or at least its lore, its foundation, but it's only sprinkled. It's not necessarily played upon to the heaviest degree, which is perfectly fine. At the moment, we are sitting at the peak of where the story could go from here. Are we going to go down utter destruction and the death of billions of people? Or are we going to go down a line that has a future that will prosper, where two nations that have been against each other for the longest of times come together to fight a global enemy? I know a lot of people don't like the idea of that, but the importance behind it and what has been teased, what has been showcased, and what chapter 127 done for us as viewers, it's pretty much in motion. It's not going to be equal to a lot of other series that do it. It's not going to be identical, considering the values of these situations, the consequences that lie within it, and the failure that sits behind it is so cataclysmic that understanding it and approaching it in a different direction is at hand. I think it's safe to assume that a lot of you know that I don't think Eren's going to kill billions of people. There's a lot of reasons for this. There's actually business reasons for this as well. But with what the story has shown us, what the story has played upon, and what Attack on Titan is at its core, having us root for a main character that eventually kills billions of people to save his own is not really satisfying ending. It may seem like it when you look at it from a distance, but what does that truly do for the story? What does it do for Attack on Titan? What does it do for us as viewers? People going to be happy that billions of people have died so a handful of thousands can live? This is not meant to undermine Eren's goals or his justification or the justification behind it, but the death of billions and rooting for billions of people to die seems rather odd to me. That doesn't mean what Eren's doing is necessarily wholeheartedly evil, as he's been pushed to those limits, those extremes, as he's tried to obtain peace and prosperity or tried to postpone this, and he's done everything in his power to stop this from happening, yet the only future that is possible now is through action. The action he takes and the action other people take to stop him. Whether they stop him or not is somewhat up to them, and how they go about it. They will have to combine forces and work together with the people that they hate, the ideology that has been created for them to be hated continuously, every single generation, every single child they've been trained to kill, and pretty much vice versa. So when you have Eren at the core, the stake of billions of people and all life on Earth as you know it at the risk of being completely annihilated, where do we go? What actually happens? I've talked about the death of Eren quite a bit in a lot of different ways, but one that has constantly stuck with me is Ymir, the biggest anomaly within the story, and Ymir's place. This place holds a lot of symbolic meanings in itself. It's associated with death, it's associated with the creation of life and titans, it's also associated with freedom and being free. Ironically enough, even though Ymir's place is called all of this, Ymir herself wasn't free within it. She was chained and shackled to the bloodline. She couldn't do anything. She was angry, she was emotional, and by all rights, she should be. Seeing her and Eren talk with one another and understand one another, for her to allow Eren to take the reins is a very powerful thing, and I think a lot of people will remember that chapter for a very long time. This is what started it all. The person that came in contact with this power, that has been shackled for generations to a royal bloodline, has been set free and has been replaced by the person that wants to fix everything through destruction and through death of billions. But the process of elimination leads to potential freedom. The idea behind it, the things that Eren has been pushed to do, he is now in a very similar position. He is not shackled, however. At least from our perspective, we don't know. He's definitely not shackled to the royal bloodline, but within that place and within how much power he can truly have, I don't see him coming back within the story. I don't see him living a happy life in the real world. If that place has to exist to some degree, if it has to uphold, if it balances everything, or if it can disappear, the only way I see it equaling out in value is if Eren stays within it. If the Titans have to disappear, someone has to reel them back in. And if Ymir is truly free and Eren has replaced her, that is the option we're leading down. Eren will reel in all Titan shifting abilities, potentially turn the Titans that exist now into humans that are going to be aimlessly roaming around, or reel them back in, and he himself will reside in this place known as freedom. To get to this point, however, we need people to convince him. We need people to make an impact on him, and the only people that I think that could actually do that, not only cause damage to him and slow the process down of annihilation, but also connect with him emotionally and mentally, is Mikasa, Armin, and the rest of the Super Squad. They have a lot of power, they have a lot of Titan shifters, but they also have emotional stability and stuff that can really throw a wrench in everything that Eren is doing. Eren has changed quite a bit as a character. His mentality has morphed and evolved into something so fearful, something so tragic, but the approach towards it and the design behind it is methodical, it's meticulous, and it's beautiful. It's tragic, but it's incredibly well done. The only people that are even going to put a dent in such a design is Mikasa and Armin. And if I take you all the way back to chapter 1, which I mentioned in previous videos, the moment where Mikasa says goodbye to Eren is a very important thing. Mikasa saying "see you later, Eren" has a lot of value. But when would this take place? Would this mean that Eren dies and Mikasa's just saying goodbye? Why would she say that so casually if Eren was bleeding out and had holes within his body because he was dying on the ground? I don't think that's the case at all. Where I think all of this takes place is within Ymir's realm, a place known as freedom, a place that holds a lot of power, and a place where Eren has full control over physically, but not mentally. He may be able to warp people in and out of it at any point, but it won't take much for Mikasa and Armin to potentially get through to him. And if chapter 1 is a reflection of the future that sits within the paths, because the paths obviously connect past, present, and future all at the same time, wouldn't it make sense that that impactful moment within chapter 1 takes place within the paths because it travels through the paths? Is it weird to anyone else that nothing of value like this has ever taken place? We've never seen something similar to this throughout the entirety of the story, and I've always wondered why. It easily could be reaching, but I feel the importance of that moment and the reason why it traveled back to Eren when he was under that tree is because it happened while in Ymir's realm, and that the last thing potentially Eren does is that he sends it back. He connects to his childhood self and shows a very important vision of Mikasa. Maybe even to communicate to his younger self to not let go of Mikasa, to not push her away, to scare him into the idea of her saying "see you later, Eren" is implying that she's leaving, so he needs to hang on to her. To be completely honest, that's probably just a massive reach in itself because I literally just thought of that, but it sounds rather interesting, it sounds compelling. The general consensus is that the way I feel like Eren's going to go is because of Mikasa and Armin. It's going to take place within the realm, within Ymir's place, based off what Ymir went through and what she was, what she embodies and entails. Eren going through the exact same thing to some degree makes a whole lot of sense. The world potentially not being destroyed, Eren being stuck within the place, recalling all of the abilities back into the Titan realm or Ymir's realm, whatever you want to call it. Mikasa and Armin saying goodbye to Eren, potentially even wrapping the scarf around him so he has something to remember Mikasa by, and then he cuts everything off and vanishes. He no longer exists, he's stuck within that realm, very similar to Ymir, but he's not shackled to any order or to any bloodline. He's stuck within this place called freedom. And I find it extremely ironic that what Eren has fought so hard for is something that he won't achieve. At least he himself won't achieve it. He won't get to experience it. But the ripple effects of that is that his people will. And I personally think this is where Isayama is going with the story. That as much as Eren has been pushed to his limits, he still gets to experience freedom, just not in the same way that we thought he would. Not in this world of Eldians and Malians coexisting and creating this potential working future. He's not going to experience that. He's going to experience the same place that every other person or Titan shifter that has been within there has recognized it as freedom, as a very beautiful place that one can create and mold at their will if they have the power. Ymir has the power. She's given the power to Eren. Now Eren has the power. If he resides in this place, potentially even his father is within there, considering he was sent to that place when he passed away. Even the Jaw Titan Ymir was sent to that place, and they both called it freedom. Surely that isn't a coincidence. So with all of this happening, what about the final panel? Wouldn't the final panel with this long-haired person holding a child imply that Eren still is alive? What I think this is, and I mentioned this a very long time ago, is somewhat of symbolism. That simply put, someone else is holding the child, whether it be Armin, even Historia, or whoever it may be. A lot of us have already come to the conclusion that that child is going to be called Ymir, to obviously resemble Historia and the Jaw Titan Ymir's relationship, their friendship that they had. They were very close, but also resemble Ymir, the original Ymir Fritz, being born back into the earth, free, someone that isn't shackled anymore. But the person holding that child is a reflection of Eren, either connected by the paths or it's used as symbolism. So someone else is holding him, and you'll probably get that in the prior panel, whether it be Armin or Mikasa or whoever it may be. But the final panel we get is of Eren's back and his long hair, holding Ymir, saying, "We are free," implying that the child is free because Titans no longer exist. The curse of Ymir is broken, also implying that Ymir, being born back into the earth, is free, and Eren himself aged quite a bit within the place because time is very weird within there, having the long hair. He himself is also free within that place, and the actual world is a lot better. It's not going to be instantly, but it's going to be progressive. It's going to change over time, and you're going to see the effects for it. But those words and the depiction of that final panel just hold a whole lot of meaning when you put it into perspective like that. The words "we are free" and Eren potentially holding that child, at least in a symbolic type of way where he's not actually there, but him connecting to the person that's holding it, or it just being symbolism in general, holds a whole lot of value, has a very impactful meaning to the story, and a beautiful conclusion to Attack on Titan. That everything that Eren has done has been successful, that the lengths he went through, the sacrifices he made, and the destruction that he brought up for people to come together to face him was worthwhile. "We are free" implies that Eren's free, his people are free, but this child within this moment is also free. To top all that off, Ymir and Eren are free. Both people shackled by burden, by hatred, are now both free. This is a very open-ended version of it. There's a lot of detail that you put into this, and portions of this idea has been thrown around quite a bit. It's reaching, but it's interesting, and it brings forth a conversation. I am very much stuck on the idea that Eren's not going to leave Ymir's realm, and that the power that he has now, he's going to recall all the Titans. I don't know the stepping stones towards that, whether they have this massive battle with Eren or his Titan that he has created, but I do think Mikasa and Armin, or maybe even just Mikasa, are going to enter that realm or connect with Eren to some degree in a spiritual sense, whether it's through the past, whether it's personally, emotionally, whatever it may be. And then you have the intricacies of Eren sending that back to his previous self for the importance of that, etc, etc. There's a lot of information, there's a lot of things that's pure speculation, but like I said, it opens up a line of dialogue, and I'm very interested to see what a lot of you think and how you feel Attack on Titan is going to reach its conclusion. What is going to happen to Eren Jaeger? I don't see him killing billions of people. Just from a business perspective, that seems a little bit weird, and I know a lot of people don't want to mention the business side of things, but it looks very weird for an author that creates a main character that we're so inherently connected to, for us to support that main character killing billions of people doesn't necessarily look all too good. Maybe Hajime Isayama's original ending, or the take of his original ending, might have been something similar, but he might have villainized Eren a little bit more. Eren is not really a villain in the sense of someone that we can wholeheartedly hate. He's doing this out of limits. He's been pushed to them. He has no other options at his disposal. And if this is all a big brain plan for Eren to be this massive villain and martyr so people can join together to fight him, to work together to create a future and to fight him, then that works even better. That's a whole different conversation in itself. If Eren is meaning to do this as a bigger picture, as a bigger plan in motion. There is a lot of things here, and a lot of it is extremely messy, so I do apologize, but I would really love to know what you all think. Where do you think Eren's story is going to end? So with that being said, that is basically it. I hope you all enjoyed, but I'm actually going to end the video here, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.